that, the lot of you continue on walking, making your way. Sandra, your prediction for the weather picking up in heat does come true.
Nice.
The in the coming days, you're hoping that you are able to get some cloud coverage, but all of you start putting up hoods, putting on hats, etc. if you have them to keep yourself from getting sunburned. Zach, they don't need to really concern themselves too much because the makeup is a pseudo sunblock. Can't really get burnt if it's not actually applying to your skin.
I've never heard of anyone's fur getting sunburned, so...
It's just unpleasantly warm for you, but
Yes.
You're kind of used to that at this point.
Wouldn't it be getting, like, I don't know, kind of chilly, though? We're getting kind of close to the Winter City.
It's getting closer to summer, and sure you are getting a bit more north, but this is just a odd heat wave, I guess. You could define it as, but
Okay, I would just imagine it would just, like, even itself out.
likely once the heat wave passes, it is likely going to drop dramatically in temperature.
Alright.
But this strange air current bringing the temperature up mixed with the intense sun, like it's not 90 degrees, you're sweating profusely. It's just that like high 70s and just a lot of sun, and the sun is what is really getting you warm.
Yeah. How's the humidity?
You
know what they say, it's not the heat, it's the humidity.
I mean, the further you get away from the swamp, the better. When you're walking next to the swamp, it was pretty bad. But when it comes to day 2 to 3 of your travel and you get further away from the swamp, things start getting a lot better. And unless anyone wanted to do anything else at some of your nightly camps.
Well, how long have we been walking?
For the travel, it's estimated a rough 5 or so days to get the Vrudoz, but
So can I bring my con back to normal because we've been long
Oh, yeah.
resting every night? Awesome.
so you easy enough are able to continue resting, recuperating, etc. Zach, you can probably just take away all of the intelligence damage at this point.
Yeah, it was
and-
it was minimal. So.
Just take away all the intelligence.
Yeah, just remove your entire intelligence score. But
Just be a brain dead.
I'm trying to figure out how to burn.
anyway, as you continue, eventually you see large walls in the distance. And Sandra, you having been through Vrudoz before, you know exactly that those are the battlements that this town has, where at the top it is lined with a large amount of cannons. And a lot of you are approaching your destination.
Oh yes, on the way there, Zach would have attempted to learn some Orcish, but
Yeah, same. I've been learning basic phrases.
Considering.
Yeah.
So 5 nights worth, I suppose, or 5 days travel.
Yeah, you get a little bit of basic lessons. It's kind of hard because both of the orcs don't know a lot of common. So yeah. Does Orvin know Orcish?
No, they had Dwarven as a common. So you're through 2 language barriers trying to translate.
Yeah, it's a hard time,
In the
but
process, I probably pick up some very basic Dwarven.
yeah, you know how to ask for a drink, which is basically all you need of Dwarven.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
the rest of the language is basically defunct at that point. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. So, Orvid, since you're probably chatting, you learn that Raijal, they are, first of all, you learn their name,
Nice.
and second, they kind of gravitate towards you a bit because they know Dwarven and you know Dwarven, and they're basically the only other person you can talk to besides Torin, who you learn that's the other orc. And Torin, they really do not have a great time with this walk because they don't know how to talk to anyone besides Raishal. So, over the course of days, if you have any inquiries about, the Orc lands or Vrudoz in general, you can certainly ask.
Like to, I guess before we get into the city, I'd like to ask about the war situation that they have going.
Rajal, they kind of extrapolate on the details of this war. The two major military settlements, Ukror and Vrudoz. Ukror, they more or less out of the blue declared that they are going to attempt to take the seat of power and unite all of the Orcish clans, and either forcibly or otherwise. And their motives are a bit unknown, but they have some large goal of more or less becoming the prominent, the very prominent race on Adia. They wish to, once they unify all of the orcs, once again, either forcibly or willingly, they are planning on marching wherever else and, slowly taking over and expanding their lands because they feel that it is time. They have been living in this poor patch of land for too many years, and while there might be more behind it, that is the main reason that people know about for them. They have already made their presence known at Chaldril and Medcon, but it hasn't completely gone into an all-out war yet. The main issue is that even the capitals of the Orc land, everyone is more or less looking to Vrudoz to put Urkror in their place and prevent this from happening. And Vrudoz, that town is specifically made for if anyone is invading from the west, they are to protect the Orc lands. They are a defensive town, and they are wanting, everyone else is wanting them to go on the offensive and fight the offensive clan of Urkror.
Sandra has a question.
Answer.
Do their ambitious plans also account for the snow orcs to the north?
That the Rachel, well, translated through Orvid, he doesn't entirely know, but it's one of those things he wouldn't put it past them, but
That's ambitious.
He doesn't know what they are planning. Honestly, he doesn't even think that they're really going to be able to take over all of the towns, but it's definitely interrupting trade. It is making Vrudoz very worried because, there hasn't really been a war since a long ass time in the past. Like, there are skirmishes, they're fighting some bandits. People have had to go to Edgeville and kick some ass, but it's so one of the kind of rites of passage for some of the orc lands is actually to go to the Korlath ruins or the swamp and kill something and bring back a trophy, just to, keeping that strength. But a lot of the orcs have been shying away from that. It's mostly been the southern orcish towns that have been actually kind of participating in that. All of the other orc towns, they've been mainly focusing on, trade and learning crafts and building up the town itself and expanding, which in a way has kind of put everyone in a bit of a hard place due to the insufficient food that they're having, because orcs aren't known for being amazing farmers. They are definitely successful farms, predominantly with livestock. They have various domesticated beasts. Cassel has quite the boar collection, which they, over time the boar starts to be less boary and more pig, but depending on which pen you go to. But Vrudoz, they have their cannons. They have a few craftsmen. They're close enough to the borders where they can go hunting in the forest for food if need be. But it's very much, they're in an odd place, and the reason that the chieftain had gone out and tried finding something in the Korlath ruins was because they're grasping at straws right now. They're not in a good place. They are fighting a defensive battle with people that don't know how to fight a war. And they were hoping they would find something, and instead they got their chieftain killed and now are being led by a clown that doesn't know how to speak their language.
Must look
We're
like
working on that.
a very,
Zach
know,
Potts.
looks like a nice situation, you
Zach
know?
Potts while drinking all this in.
Yeah. So
Maybe what they need is the Dark Carnival after all.
Yeah. The
maybe.
They are at their limit, and the Honk Mother can provide. Well,
Yeah.
as long as they're willing to go along with it.
So they do say that when they go into town, the crowning ritual will happen, led by the shaman of the village. Urkal is their name, Shaman Urkal. And they are the town's shaman and the lore speaker, and they will be able to conduct the crowning ritual, which will allow everyone to know that you are the new chieftain, and, Torin and Rajal both acknowledge you as chieftain at this point. You hold the rod, you wear the armband, and for what it's worth, you are in fact the chieftain as it stands. They don't have anyone else. And as you're approaching these walls, intimidating walls, like they are made well out of stone, and the cannons that are atop of the walls, you certainly don't want to be on the receiving end of them.
Out of character, for those of you who don't read the map, this is the only orc town with cannons. Now, in
Thank you,
character, I do have another question, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Is this terribly uncommon for a non-orc person to become a chief in this way?
Roll a history check.
Sure. That's a +3. I mean, I was just gonna ask them, but
I'll assist you.
it's a 15.
So you, over the course of time, you know, you've sat in some of the taverns and chatted with some orcs that spoke common, and it actually is not super uncommon, but it is pretty rare that it happens. Every so often, another race will step in, either accidentally or purposely, attempt to usurp. For a while, to Orzer was actually ruled by a Goliath. Medcon at one point had a dwarf. Every once in a blue moon it happens, but either they die of old age, they get killed by someone, something like that. The crown is passed to the next, and for now, the capital city of the Orc lands is in fact ruled by an orc, but all of the chieftains who more or less are able to make the decisions, each of the chieftains that leads the towns, they serve on a pseudo council. While the capital has the final say on everything, they want the advice of the various towns because they know what's going on in their town the best. And now Urkrord stepped away from the council, has declared war, and they have at least heard that Chaldril and Medcon they already have orcs at their borders from Urkror, and concern is definitely growing. But that report is about 2 weeks old at this point, now that you're approaching the walls.
Goody. Alright.
Okay. So we're able to approach the walls without getting cannoned?
Oh, you definitely see that there are some armored orcs on top of the walls, and they kind of watch you as you approach. The gate itself is currently shut, but as you approach, you notice that there is a orc who's at the gate, and it kind of opens up to allow them to walk out and kind of greet you. As a lot of you walk up, you can see that they're pensively kind of taking each of you in from the other side of their helmet, and they notice Raijal and Torin amongst the lot of you. And a couple of words are exchanged in Orcish that none of you understand, but sure enough, it's kind of due to body language. You can tell that, they're motioning to Zach, and the cane that he holds, the rod of authority, and it probably passing on the information that Zach is the new chieftain. And they give a nod and shout something in Orcish up the wall, and then the doors open completely, and you see 2 additional guards walk out, and the guard who greeted Raijal and Torin looks to Zach and goes, "Welcome, new chieftain."
Thank you.
If you will, our guards will escort you to your new resident.
Very well. Will my companions come along with me, or?
Of course, they are your guards.
See what the new life is like.
So, I'm assuming that a lot of you wish to follow this armed escort through town, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, as you breach past the exterior walls, the doors are shut behind you, and you can see it's a fairly bustling town. The architecture is definitely different. while there are wood and stone homes, there is a lot of animal and bone decoration here and there. You can see that there are some upside down skulls that are being used as flower pots. There's a tomato garden in the front of someone's house. And as you're kind of walking down the main trade street, you can actually see there's like a town square, and you can see what appears to be like a news board. And as you're kind of led through the town, you definitely get a lot of heads turning, and you eventually are led to a quite sizable home, which when you are led up to it, the doors are opened for you, and inside you see that there is an older looking orc that they're a bit caught off guard. They're sitting at a side table reading a book, but they stand and approach, and looking at the lot of you, they look towards Zach, being the one that more or less is the most flanked by all of the orcs and the only one wearing the armband. I'm assuming you pull out the Rod of Authority at some point. Okay, so being the holder of the Rod of Authority, they automatically know what is going on here, and approaching, they look to you and give you a respective nod, and they say, "Hello, chieftain. I am the shaman. As I notice you are holding the rod, I, being the town's lore speaker, and what would be referred to as an officiant, you may rely on me for the crowning ritual, and this place of living is yours, though I will mention, as it is not custom for ones of your races. This main room, being the common room, is where most of the public appearances take place. The various back rooms, side rooms, and apartments, those are all yours to do as you wish, and I will have the various attendants of the land go through the rooms and prepare them for all of your friends."
I see. Regarding the crowning ritual, what is the itinerary currently? Or how will this go through? Would it be immediate, or might we have some time to recuperate from the travels?
You will be given sufficient time. The crowning ritual does take a day to prepare, and most of the day of today has been gone through, so likely in 2 days we'll be prepared for the crowning ritual, unless you wish for us to wait longer. Normally, the sooner the better, and we'll be able to prepare a great feast in your honor. If you wish to have particular dishes prepared, we would be able to accommodate, though depending on what is ordered, it might take some additional time to get.
Beef stew.
We'll see about the menu at a later moment. For now, thank you for welcoming me to Lord Vrudoz.
So, as Sandra speaks up, about every orc glares at her immediately, and you get the feeling that it is very faux pas to interrupt the shaman or the chieftain when they are conversing, but the shaman, ignoring Sandra, gives a nod to Zach, and may this one have the name of our new chieftain.
Zach Madej.
Right. Chieftain Madej. Welcome to Vrudoz. And they step to the side and allow you to look about the room. And you can see that on the far side of the room, there is more or less as you would expect from a orcish throne. It's fairly sizable, decorated with various beast skull and spines of various creatures with gold trinkets hanging from it. Whether you find it gaudy or not, that is the current throne that is now yours. And the guards themselves, now that you have arrived, the two of them go and stand guard at the door while the extra one leaves and returns probably to their position at the wall. And Raijal and Torin both look to the shaman, exchange some words in Orcish, and the shaman looks to you and says, Chieftain, your two followers here, they are wondering if their assistance is still required. If they should, if they are allowed to go, if they wonder whether they will be called upon in the morrow, the next day, whenever. They just wish to go and see their families once again, if allowed.
Yes, they may go for the day if they wish to. I may have need of them tomorrow.
They give you a nod, say another few words in Orcish to them, and they both nod to you, and just in what they would assume to be the correct words, they both look at you and go, "Thank you, Chief." And both of them turn and make their way out. So, you stand within your throne room. What do you wish to do?
I'm gonna have a look around.
So, Sandra, you...
For a tour, I'm gonna see if I can see what the royal bedroom would look like.
So, if you do wish to request a tour, you certainly may.
I like to wander.
Alright, Sandra, if you begin wandering off,
You have to get your head cut off.
We'll try not to.
the shaman looks towards Zach and goes, Chieftain, this one is just curious. The not to pry, but if one would allow the companions of yourself to explore the estate freely, or if they are to be kept within certain bounds. I apologize that this one does not know the current rule and how you wish to operate. If you allow them to go freely, then we will advise the guards, and they will be able to more or less make their way around town unhindered.
Really, though, perhaps keep them out of anything that they shouldn't have access to, even if they may be my companions.
Should we have guard attendants with them?
Yes.
They give a nod, and the shaman says a couple of words in Orcish, and the guards at the door both walk forward. And as Sandra begins wandering, one of the guards just kind of follows along. Their hands aren't like on their weapon or anything. They're just keeping a watch, making sure you're not poke at anything that shouldn't be poked, though.
Under my breath in Sylvan, I say, like, you think you can tame me?
The guard doesn't even pick up on you saying anything.
Exactly, that's why I said it under my breath.
So, what does the rest of the party wish to do?
I'm probably gonna converse with Gally about getting specific preparations for Grant Keep set ahead of time, and if there's a way to start communications with our magic mumbo jumbo.
Well, that's a bit of a request right there. I don't really know how to run Granite Keep, and I don't really have a direct method of conversing with them. The next best thing would be seeing if there's anyone at the Adventurers Guild to be able to relay the message. The Adventurers Guild in Cosel might be a bit closer than Granite Keep itself, but
Isn't it in Chaldril?
at least from what the map said, there is an Adventurers Guild. Oh, it's looking to establish in Cosel.
Yes.
So yes, it is in Sheldril. I do apologize.
It's alright.
You might want to. I might allow you to have use any of the resources that the shaman might have at his disposal to communicate with them. Probably the sooner the better with your dwarven lineage situation.
If we're a distance away, I'd like to get those preparations set before they get complicated.
Well, if you want, you can come with me to find a courier.
Yep.
I was gonna look for a library, maybe try and land it.
I have many things to do in town.
The shaman, kind of as you're conversing about this, they go, if you wish, we can send out the royal courier for any tasks that need to be done.
Well, we need to inform Granite Keep that a new heir has been established.
Oh, that, if you don't mind my inquiry, a new heir to Granite Keep, you say?
Under technicalities, that would be me.
Oh, well, this one does apologize that I did not know of the situation. If you do, pardon my rudeness, this one had heard that in the past the Granite Keep was ruled by the merchant noble, but if something has changed, then I will make a recording of that with post haste.
And no offense taken, there are efforts to stabilize things which would require re-establishing the lineage.
If you do not mind, if a letter would be written up, this one can provide the vellum and seal if one would need, and the courier can be sent out to whichever town that you may wish.
That sounds like a plan. We can get that all set in order while we're waiting for the preparations for the new chief's crowning.
Right. And due to the hour, Chieftain, would you like us to begin preparing your meal for the day?
Yes. In the meantime, I may need to take some time to myself to take care of some religious duties on my own.
Of course. Allow me to give you the tour of the the home that you have been bequeathed. So,
Also,
go on.
where's the library?
Well, they are about to begin the tour. The library, when it gets to that part, there isn't so much a library. There is a collection of tomes, most of them belonging to the shaman. A lot of, records of the various rulers, information about the rulers. There is a handful of various other books, tales. A lot of it is just information about Vrudoz and the surrounding orc territory and the various leaders, and just you'd assume that some of these books date back quite far, and if you certainly want to read into the various orcish inquiries, as you kind of glance at them, all of them are written in Orcish.
I was mainly trying to find a book that would help me learn Orcish, if they had such a book.
They actually do.
I wouldn't mind looking at that actually as well.
It's certainly something that isn't going to happen overnight, but the shaman first requests permission to give the companions the book. They ask the chieftain if it is okay to lend the book for an extended period of time, because technically it is yours.
First, I too need to have some assistance with Orcish myself.
No worries. We are able to get the finest tutor for you. And they kind of just hand the book to Zach, and they currently only have the one copy, but additional copies likely are going to be brought by the tutor later on.
Simply just hands it over to Nicholas.
Yeah, the shaman does not pay much heed, and so kind of going through the tour, the main room of this home. Home is a loose term. It's a pseudo town hall that is also the place where you live. The main room, it being the common room, there are long tables that are on two sides, as well as the throne itself in the middle. As you can, when you go and finish the tour and are back in the main area, there is an additional table brought out in front of the throne that will be having dinner served on it. But when you begin making your round, there's the kitchen with stocked pantry. You have a personal chef. The behind the commons room, there are paths to the various apartments, which all of them, there's one bathroom for an entire hall of apartments, which there's like 5 apartments on each side. This place can house a number of guests comfortably. Each of the apartments have their own bed, writing desk, chamber pot, a window looking to the outdoors. It's, once again, like, everything is... It's almost standard for, like, a tavern, almost. Besides, bed bugs. But, everything just has that orcish touch to it, where things are, it's more to the point in a way. There are various decorations made of various beast parts around, but it's not like out of place. It's done very tastefully, such as, sure, there's a skull, but it is weaved in a embroidery that is a circular, almost a dream catcher, if you would be able to, equate that. and all of these decorations are, they definitely, it's a lively place to look at. So as you make your way past the apartments, there is the small library slash study there, with a staircase going up. There is actually a balcony that overlooks the trade district of the town. You would assume that might also double as a balcony to give speeches. You eventually get to the master bedroom, and there is a large canopied bed that it looks to have a very nice mattress on it. And the room is probably twice the size of all the other apartments. It has its own private bathroom. You can see that in the bath there's a fairly sizable tub. You'd assume that one of the past chieftains really enjoyed their baths. And all in all, it is quite the fine place that Zach will look forward to staying in. There is also a training area, as well as a lounge room is a loose way of putting it. There is a fire pit and some various side games and a decently stocked bar in the lounge room. A lot of orcish brew, as well as you see a handful of stone home brews. A good mix-in of dwarvish ale. And there's also just an entire keg that does not have a label on it, but you are told that it is also dwarvish ale that the past chieftain enjoyed. So your place of living certainly has a large amount of fineries, and there is a rumor or two that they are clearing out to replace it with anything that you may want, as they're the various chieftains, as they cycle through, have their own rooms that they can just kind of make into anything. And the previous chieftain hadn't found a complete use for it yet. They spent most of their time either in the lounge or in the training room. That if you wish to, keep it as a training room, or if you want to change it to something else, that's up to you. But for the most part, that is the place that you live. It is quite sizable, rooms for all of your companions to live individually, an entire kitchen with staff, and the run of the house is yours.
It's quite the setup Zach's got.
I'll get you a map out another day.
Nice.
But
Sure, take your time with that.
Mm-hmm. And the shaman more or less puts it out there of whatever you want to do with those two rooms. They're pretty big rooms. Well, one of them's bigger, the other one's pretty moderate size, but both of them can be whatever you want to put in it.
Interesting.
I can make use of that training room.
In the training room, there are a variety of weapons already there. You can see both, regular bow, short bow, crossbow, and orcish bow that it looks to be made of some form of giant bone.
I want to know everything about it.
Yeah, you can certainly have a look at that bow and attempt to discern what various bits they are. It does appear to be a curved bone from some large beast, certainly, slightly carved into for the string itself, which, while currently not strung, you being a bow user know that shouldn't always have your bow strung. That's actually bad for the bow. The string itself, there are a couple of replacement strings, but it is a very odd string material that you can't exactly place it, but it certainly is a part of some beast that you're not sure what it is, and whatever this was taken from, probably you don't want to fight it. But in the training room, various targets. There are weights for weightlifting, a variety of orcish weapons as well as some dwarven weapons mixed in, and throwing daggers, etc. You have a small armory here, essentially, that you can just pillage the entire thing if you want and take all the weapons.
You just said daggers.
How many daggers?
I would guesstimate, because there are a number of throwing daggers. I would say probably about 10.
10 of Zach's daggers.
Yep.
10?
Yeah.
I mean, you could just not let them have him as the chief.
And how many
If
do
you
we
wanted.
actually need, though?
How many? Well, I have like 5 plus my good one.
Yeah, I think that's plenty. How many daggers do you realistically need?
Enough to throw.
I mean, how? I'm just putting this out there. I haven't seen you throw a single dagger.
I throw one of my daggers at one of the targets.
Alright, go ahead and make an attack roll.
Sure, just let me get the stats on that. I think it's just an attack plus my proficiency.
Yeah, it's your...
Unless I choose to add dex because it is a finesse weapon.
So since you're throwing it, it is dex, and your proficiency bonus.
So plus 6, okay. 20 plus... Yeah, plus 6... Yes. Oh. I did that wrong.
Well, it's easy enough to hit a stationary target from not terribly far away. You throw it, it sticks in. Not really close to bullseye, but, you got it.
Again!
So, the shaman looks kind of towards the group in general and goes, if you do require additional weaponry, there is a smith in town.
I do need a craftsman.
Oh, yeah.
We do have a variety of craftsmen in town.
I'm looking for a gilded acorn.
A gilded acorn. A strange request. There would only be one place in town you might be able to find that. And that would be in the, Mystic Magic's Emporium.
Okay.
I give a forewarning, the owner is a bit eccentric.
Magic shop owners usually are.
Right. Calling it a magic shop is maybe a bit deceiving, but sure enough, there's a chance that you might find it there.
Okay, where is it, if I may ask?
If you go to the main trade square after leaving this place of residence, you just take a right, and it's a bit hard to miss.
Okay.
I suppose our local smith could have one of these gilded as well. And Zach pulls out from his satchel, one of the were skeleton, just werewolf skulls, I suppose. It was a werewolf and now it's a skeleton, so
Why do you
werewolf
want that
skull.
gilded?
Same reason you do. Magic.
They hold their hand out for you to give them the werewolf skull.
So that is handed over.
They look over it and turn and hand it to one of the guards, and
Cannot
And-
remember where you picked this thing up.
We fought an entire horde of werewolf skeletons.
All right, no, that was the first dungeon fight.
Yes.
Yep. They hand the skull over to a guard and then turn back towards you and just nod and go, "It will be done."
Thank you.
Well, that took that one break.
Was there anything else that you require?
Are there any stats worth noting?
If you're looking for magical staves, then there isn't terribly much in the way of magical items. You'd find that in one of the larger trade cities, but if the quarterstaffs that we have here, all of these weapons are mostly for training purpose. They aren't particularly sharp and battle ready. They were used for exercise for the previous chief.
And I also need a mail courier.
Well, we have the current courier going to send the letter to Granite Keep if I am correct on that.
My letter's going somewhere else.
We can certainly procure another courier for you.
Thank you.
I will take my leave. I'm sure the rest of you could ask him for anything else. I'm going to go take care of my necessary duties for the time being. Then Zach's is gonna go back to his main room.
Hey, out of character, B, you're gonna be very quiet this episode.
There's the problem with having a bad microphone.
I keep raising it. It's not doing much.
Yeah.
I had to literally raise them to about.
I could try to increase my volume on my end.
Please.
Let's see. Okay, how's this?
That's much better. Thank you.
Congrats. But yes, if you need anything, I'm sure our newfound ally can assist you. I will go take care of my obligated duties. And so Zach just goes back to the central room of his bedrooms.
So, your personal bedroom, the master bedroom.
Yep.
Easy enough. The layout of this place isn't esoteric in any means. You're easily able to make your way back and close the door. There is a latch to have the door locked. And, it
Lock himself inside and try to contact the Honk Mother or Honk Mother related peoples.
So I will ask, how do you attempt to channel the Honk?
Zach is going to pull out his latest gift, which was the little spritz flower. Pull out some snacks, at least the ones that look funny enough. And lay down his packed weapon on it. And just
So-
begin the honking.
As you lay down the various implements and begin your meditative honk, you less lay down the weapon and more place it upright in front of you. And as the meditative honk begins, you release the packed weapon and allow it to stand upright of its own volition. as the meditative honking continues, the reverberated single note continues on and on. And then, can I have you roll a general charisma check?
Step away just a second.
Just generic charisma or like
Yep.
persuasion?
Roll just straight charisma.
Alright, ability check, go. Whoa. Wow. Nice.
So, as the honk continues, you feel the presence there, though it isn't as direct. The honk mother, you know that they are watching, but they are not making themselves present to you at the moment.
Alright. What'd I miss?
The
Honk
Zach meditating.
Mother stuff.
It looks like he rolled a 5.
Oh, utterer of the first chuckle. I have found myself in a strange, opportunistic situation. As you've definitely noticed, I've found myself in more of the spotlight than anticipated. However, I think this could be a chance to bring in more members of the carnival.
Oh, God.
They need. They find themselves weak, lacking much mirth, as it were. They are not strong, but they can be taught to be.
This will not
They can be
end
taught to be
well.
joyful, to revel, to spread mirth itself, instead of whatever it is that they used to. It isn't very necessary what they used to be so much as they can be welcomed in, brought under the protection, but more importantly, taught to continue to smile, as it were. I'd like to have my inauguration, at the very least, start off with a festival. One a bit more animated than it would normally be for such orc folk.
As you give out the prayer and ask to the honk mother, your eyes still closed, though while they are closed, you can see still in front of you your packed weapon. It stands there of its own volition, and you utter the requests to the air surrounding you. Currently, you do not hear the carnival. And the honk continues to reverberate. But you feel only the gaze. The presence of the carnival is about, but it seems almost distant at this point. With the various doings, you know that you have at least the feeling, the inclination that with the various displeasures brought on, you are still being watched. You are still a member of the Dark Carnival, but it seems that you are getting closer to the edge, and as you once again open your eyes, you see that inscripted across the handle of your packed weapon are the words, "The show must go on."
Cryptic.
So, Zach, what do you do?
Zach is going to rack his brain on how to make Fago.
The Dark Elixir.
Might as well start getting to work on it myself.
So, your task set ahead of you. You begin trying to recall the recipe for the Dark Elixir, the true sauce of miracles. And for the better part of the remainder of the day, I should say, you can dedicate yourself into finding avenues to create the elixir. But with that, I will swap to the rest of the party. What does everyone else wish to do with the remainder of the time prior to dinner?
I want to hit up that magic shop.
Does anyone else want to go to the magic shop?
Actually, yeah, I do ask Nicholas if he wants to come with.
Okay.
I promise we will not get into any street fights this time.
I suppose I'll tag along.
Unless you really, really want to.
No.
I'll tag along, but probably as I'm leaving, tell Dothric to not get into any trouble, and tell Gally to make sure that Dothric doesn't get into any trouble.
Why must you give me the hardest tasks, Orvid?
Because they must be done.
Dothric, as you're, saying this to Gally and Dothric, they are both within the lounge, already cracked into one of the various kegs of dwarven ale.
When we get things rolling down the in Granite Keep, you can expect something similar. But he'll be in our house in that case, so maybe he'll behave better.
You can't trust me to behave well here, Orvid. But
I just don't want any miscommunications or bad intentions when we're trying to set up a stabilization effort.
you can trust me to, know when to either knock some heads together or down a few ale, and
That's a spirit. I'll see you later.
you need to loosen up, but I'll be here if you need to find me. You can see that he already has. He just reaches over and refills his 2/3 gone mug, and you can assume that's probably his second or third.
Is it safe to assume that Zach won't have the dwarven ale for so long? Or is that the private reserve to him?
The shaman does make an offhanded comment of he probably needs to get the next cask ready, so you'd assume they might have more casks of it.
Yeah. As we're leaving, I do make a note to the shaman that don't be afraid to give him bottom barrel, he'll drink it.
He gives a understanding nod and does relay the message to one of the assisting hands, and later in the day a new keg is brought of orcish swill, if you could so say.
Tasty stuff.
before the party heads out to the magic shop, there is a knock on Zach's door, and one of the various hands does mention that the party is heading out to apparently stop at the Mystic Magic Emporium. And, if you were to want to tag along, this would be your chance. If not, then you can continue the research that you are doing.
Hey.
No. If anything, just keep an eye on them. Make sure they don't cause any trouble beyond what's normally acceptable. If anything. Put out a call for any jesters, entertainers that could arrive for the festivities. For the crowning.
The orc servant kind of looks at you, and she's like, "Right, I'll go ahead and see what we have in town. We might have a bard, but jesters are not something fairly common with orcs. But we'll certainly
We'll get the right things if you just put out the word.
we certainly shall." And she gives kind of an apologetic bow and makes her way off.
Menacing
But-
clown glare.
Yeah, man, that was kind of a long shot.
So the party, all minus Zach, conglomerates together, and still a guard. You actually see that the two guards that were guarding the front door of the house do begin accompanying you as you leave, and kind of a personal escort for if anything were to happen, though. You're unsure of the crime rate of the town, but certainly nothing is going to happen with a royal escort. So, the lot of you leave and begin attempting to head to the Mystic Magic Emporium.
Yes, Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium.
So, as you begin making your way through the square, there are various street vendors that do attempt to sell you either, some bone and mineral jewelry. You can see a lot of semi-precious, like, gemstones that are cut into either, figurines or jewelry, things of that nature. Some of them just have, like a large polished shard of opal, or a lot of turquoise, and not things that you wouldn't find particularly deep into the ground. But there are also food merchants. Every town has a kebab merchant somewhere. You just put a bunch of food on a stick and call it a kebab, and hawk it to whoever will buy it. Though you do see a lot of the makings of the kebab are primarily meat, though there are some kebabs that have some root vegetables. You can see a merchant selling like potato-based breads and other potato-based pastries, both of regular potato and sweet potato. And there's a merchant that's selling like entire cooked and prepared small game creatures, like rabbits, rats, raccoons. You would assume at the point that they're at currently, Sandra, you could probably guesstimate what animals they were, but everyone else, to an untrained eye, you just know that it's some kind of small game that has been well seasoned and well prepared. This street vendor probably been hawking their wares for a while. A lot of their stock is emptied, but they still got fresh bits to sell and are more than happy to sell anything to you if you want. But unless anyone stops for anything, you continue through the street. You can hear far, far in the distance, both Nicholas and Sandra. There is a clanging of an anvil. You would assume that likely there is a town smithy, but not super close as you come across a storefront that says the Mystic Magics, spelled with Magickz, the Mystic Magics Emporium. And one of the guards attempts to hold back a sigh and an eye roll, but the lot of you, as you begin to approach this fairly extravagant storefront, it is colored the best it can be to be a painted storefront, though the paint has been put on a bit thin, as painted buildings are not as common. But making your way in, you can see there are a variety of crystals and knickknacks and things that certainly look magic. And as the door opens with a jingle, you can see that there is a orc that is currently in a very deep blue with gold, like more gilded shoulder pauldrons that go upwards in a spike, and the robe has various just arcane looking inscriptions all over it, just in the pattern. And they look to you, hair up in a ponytail. They turn and smile, and you can see that their tusks are both not only one is gold, one is silver, but the silver one looks to have some form of magic rune inscripted on it. And they smile and go, "Hello, welcome to the Magic Mystics Emporium. I am Crindus Sparkle Showers. What may I enchant you with today?"
Looking for a gilded acorn?
Gilded Acorn. An interesting inquiry. Something hardly specific. I would say that you are using it for some form of spell.
You'd be correct.
I will say, lucky for you, I happened to actually have a Gilded Acorn. A merchant came through, I saw it, knew it was divine to be purchased. So, if you would wish, I do have this acorn. He pulls out from underneath his counter a small, what looks to be almost like a ring box, and opens it up, and you can see certainly it is a golden gilded acorn.
Okay, how much?
Well, this being a specifically sought-after item, quite rare to find these around these parts, especially gilded. I think I will cut you a deal of 70 gold pieces.
That's quite generous.
Do we have a deal?
Yeah.
Well then, he closes the box, sets it on the counter, and if you exchange the currency, it is a gilded acorn worth at least 50 gold pieces. So, if I do recall, that is what you require for your component.
Looking up the spell now. I think it needs to be 200.
It is certainly not worth 200.
Is that it, Xanathar? Let Nicholas do his thing. I'm gonna be a second.
I guess I'll just look around.
So, you begin having a look around the shop, and being a both divine caster as well as you've done your research. You've done your research into arcane magic, and these are. This looks less to be a magic item shop and more it is more a magical knickknack shop for there is a deck of cards specifically for card tricks, and there is a cooler that is enchanted with an ice spell, and a wand that every time you flick it, it summons sparkles. It is not someplace that you would find. It is not a place that you would find a, scroll of anything above first level.
So, Orvid would actually like to inquire about the cards.
Oh my god.
What exactly the card tricks are for.
As you inquire, the orc picks up the deck of cards, and with a flourish, they unfurl all of them, showing you each of the cards. And this is a special deck of cards. They tap all of them together, and it goes back into a standard deck. So you see, this, when done by a trained hand, they tap their finger on the top of it, and you see that the card on top reverses. And if you'd like, you can go ahead and make a perception check.
Oh, this is stupid.
Can I add a proficiency because I have playing cards as a proficiency?
I'll let you.
Proficiency plus perception, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that would actually be just.
This is stupid. I don't know if this is gonna work.
Well, you've already said that now, haven't you?
I haven't actually bought it yet.
So, you have a look at it, and you're not able to entirely discern whether or not this is a magic deck of cards or if they're just really good at sleight of hand. But you've
Check.
you can certainly also roll a perception check, Nicholas. You've policed people on the street before, so
Yeah.
Nicholas, you're 100% able to pick up. He 100% did a sleight of hand trick. And they...
You don't need to tell me not to get it. It's because he's not able to confirm. He's just like, I don't think it's for me this time.
Well, If that isn't what you are interested in, maybe I can interest you in this shirt. This is quite the magical shirt. You put this on, and it'll transform into whatever shirt you would like. The shirt appears to just be, a plain white shirt, but it you'd assume that if he actually put it on, it would change.
Be a nice party trick, but not quite what I'm looking for.
Well, if that does not interest you, what else would you be in the market for?
Something. Was initially interested in the cards because I per se need activity to impress people.
Well, this deck of cards does also function as a regular deck of cards if you do not
Well, yeah,
want.
I have any old deck of cards myself.
If you're also looking for any particular type of card set, I might be able to make some accommodations for you.
Well, alright, I mean, aside from what you just showed me, what else do you have of related to cards?
Well, it's mostly the same sets, but of different design. I also do have a dragon chessboard, but if you would like, they reach under the counter and pull out a couple of packs of cards, and you can see one looks to be more arcane based with different schools of magic, which the arcane based one, it doesn't have just the 4 suits. It has a suit for every school of magic. So pretty sizable stack. Certainly more than 52 cards.
Mm-hmm.
There is one that is particularly orc based. That one he has a couple of packs of cards for. There's one of the various elements, and it's a pretty decent selection. There's one that you'd assume is dwarven based because all it is alcohols, but he has a variety of pretty standard packs of cards, and each of them are just 2 gold pieces. But the one of the schools of magic, that one is 5 gold pieces because it's like, I think it would be, I don't even know how many cards that is. I'll do the math later.
There you go.
51.
I'm going to, I guess, buy the dwarvish themed one.
So there is one that is particularly, like anvils, hammers, a mug, and a pickaxe. There's also the one that is just alcohol. So did you want the alcohol one or the just dwarven themed one?
The just dwarven themed one. That is right.
So he sells you that pack of cards. You're able to pull them out, confirm every card is there. All of them are hand drawn, and it very nice actually. Like the King, Queen, and Jack, as well as the Joker and Ace of Spade card. Though it is not an Ace of Spade, it is a tankard that seems to be finely drawn with the symbol of Stoneholm in it. But it's a regular deck of cards that you'll certainly be able to play any card game with or attempt any sleight of hand tricks.
All right. Yeah, that is that should be all. He does pull out the deck of cards that he got from the dungeon and asks how much he might be willing to purchase a deck of illusions for.
A deck of illusions, you say? Oh, that. I might be able to make a trade for, but that is something that is quite rare indeed.
Has most of the set too.
With most of the set. Ooh.
Near all, if I'd say so myself.
Well, I do have the hand cannon, and he motions to a literal cannon that is in the shop, kind of out of place, but there's a cannon there.
Yeah.
Nicholas just kind of tilts his head in very massive confusion.
Sandra slowly walks over to it.
Yes, the hand cannon, bit of a misleading name because it is quite hard to carry. It does, with some minor enchantments on it that I managed to get done. It's more or less a regular cannon that has less recoil as to not knock you off your feet after having it shot.
Huh.
Range isn't particularly my style, but that does sound interesting.
I have a technical question for the DM.
Yep.
Says a feather, a tuft of fur, and a fishtail inside a gilded acorn worth at least 200.
Yeah, this is just an acorn that someone covered in gold.
Does it have to be inside the acorn?
For the item, yes, it is particularly, it is a specific item that, you'd assume easily done in the Wizard City, or probably procured in a magic item shop that isn't full of knickknacks and useless items.
I'm so upset. I'm upset. You're a screen door on a submarine, okay.
Now be concerned now about my werewolf skull, though to be fair, it is a werewolf skull, and it will be covered in gold, and it won't be done by a knickknack shop.
Well,
So, we'll see what that thing's actual value is, but it's just a skull, I don't have to put a feather in it or anything.
I mean, I have an acorn. Can we gild that?
Does Acorn have a feather in it?
do you wish to inquire about that?
Sure, why not?
They kind of look at you, furrow their brow a bit, and go, "You wish to gild the acorn? Well, I certainly could go about finding a craftsman that could get that done. Any particular reason? Do you have an acorn on you?"
Yes.
Right. Well, if we're just gilding an acorn, certainly, depending on how much gold you would like to place on it, I can get that done.
This isn't gonna work.
Is there anything in specific that needs to be done with this acorn besides covering it in gold?
It needs a feather, a tuft of fur, and a fishtail inside of it. And it has to be worth 200 gold.
Right. For the various components,
I have those as well.
I can certainly I can certainly go about acquiring a feather, a tuft of fur, and a fish tail. Placing it inside a gilded acorn, I'll likely need to increase the size of the acorn and work probably with a smithy. If you're able to give payment up front, I would say 25 gold commission. I could have this done for you in 2 days.
How much are we talking total?
Well, the 200 gold pieces as for the worth, and then the 25 gold pieces to have that done.
225.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have that, but I do have some things that might be worth that.
We do barter.
Okay, good. I have, let me see here. I have a necklace in here. It just says necklace.
Okay.
I have a potion of cat's grace and a potion of giant strength.
Giant strength is pretty useful in cat's grace.
And a hand crossbow.
I don't have much use for a hand crossbow.
I figured. Oh, let me see here.
With the 2 potions, I could probably knock about 100 gold pieces off.
I know what I have to do, but I'm debating it in my head. Fuck. Okay, Alright. I reach into my bag and I pull out the magic cleaver.
Gotta just look at the cleaver and then look back to you. Gotta
Enchanted cleaver.
magic cleaver, you say?
Enchanted cleaver, yes.
Yeah, they kind of motion as they like, do you mind if I look at this type?
Absolutely.
They grab it, take a look at it, look at the runes. This will be a fair trade. I can take care of all of it for you if you be willing to trade this to me.
Sure, I'm just gonna use it for cooking anyway.
Then the deal is done. I will get you your acorn in 2 days.
Okay.
And with that, was there anything anyone else wished to do?
Shit was in Tasha's cauldron of everything. That is the last book I always check.
Yes, Orvid's going to pass on the hand cannon, as enticing as that sounds.
Out of morbid curiosity, can I try lifting it?
You can't.
I cannot lift it.
Not with that strength score.
Okay.
Well, what's your strength?
It's like, I think it's 12? No, it's 10.
Yeah, perhaps.
I figured as much.
But
But
if
just
there,
out of morbid curiosity.
so if there wasn't anything else to be done in the shop, I would say now is about a good time with you needing to return to the what's a good word for it? Zach's abode for dinner and winding down for the day. I would say let's call session here, and
Yes.
we can go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay. Oh, you wanted to just go straight to the outro, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
I didn't
He's
know if
on a
anyone
crunchy-
else had anything else to say.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
We're done. I
yeah,
think.
B needs to
B is like straight up muted because the
Yep.
room he's in has been commandeered. He is not in his
Yep.
usual place. Honestly, it's a miracle that we got a session done today, folks.
Yeah, I was trying to like expedite things at the end, but we can, if need be, do more stuff at the magic shop next week.
This was
But-
good. This was fine.
All right.
Yeah.
So, with that, I do thank everyone for watching, and hopefully we'll be seeing you next week.
If I
And
may, real
Mhm.
quick, what do you guys think of the
Mhm.
new map? Because I
it looks
would
fine.
like some feedback. I'm trying to get my
I like
map
this
making
part.
skills a little better.
To be honest, I haven't paid attention to the old map enough to know that there's a difference.
Steve, I'm being serious.
The only
I like
major
this
differences I noticed, and this is something I do appreciate, is that there's less ruins about the area.
No, same
Instead
amount
of-
of ruins.
Really, I thought there was a couple more besides Lisma.
You will notice that Lismith has been labeled now, though.
Well, good luck at that.
Oh, it's even in the same font now.
Yeah, no, nothing has been moved. I just sort of wanted to clean it up a little bit, make the various regions have different colors, maybe paint the ground around the forests. This just looks a little nicer.
It generally looks fine. Not terrible.
Certainly, it looks like it looks like a map for sure. For sure. I can't really say that I have any complaints about it.
Yeah, but is it an improvement?
I don't remember the old map that much. I feel like there's more space in between places, so it feels a lot less cluttered.
Okay,
Which is
sure,
honestly-
I'll take that.
So
Honestly,
it
it's an improvement.
like it,
'Cause,
it
like-
definitely.
Because, like, I'm gonna be DMing the next campaign, so getting practice in now.
Mhm, mhm.
But, yeah. Thank you guys at home so much for watching. It's been great. This was actually our first session of 2022, so I don't know when this is going up, but that is the timetables we're currently working on.
Mhm.
We'll see you guys next week.
Yeet.